This is the 2024 Lexus TX 550h Plus, and it's aimed straight for the heart of the very competitive three-row luxury crossover market. Previously, the GX and LX were the only ways to get a third-row seat, except for the badly executed RXL. That's now gone, and so today I'm going to test this one and see how well it does. So the Lexus TX is built on the same platform as the Toyota Grand Highlander, and it's significantly bigger than the Lexus RX. It's got 4 inches on that car in the wheelbase, it's 3 inches wider, and it's 203 inches end-to-end, which is around 17 feet. So just like in the Jeep Wagoneer, there's no curvy body at the back here. It's just very squared off for maximizing both cargo and passenger space. At the front, the Lexus, of course, sports the traditional Lexus face spindle grille with these horizontal body-colored slats, LED headlights, these 2 spotlights in the bumper, but it is a little bit more toned down than in the RX. So all TX 550h Plus models come in the luxury trims. You get these 22-inch alloy wheels. They're wearing Continental Cross contacts. They're 255/45s all around. And then it gets upgraded 6-piston calipers with larger discs. So from the back, it's quite nicely styled. I think it looks better than the Jeep Wagoneer, which has that weird sort of black frame around the window. Kind of a dated look. Lexus badge in the middle here, as is standard these days, and then TX 550h Plus Direct 4, because it is all-wheel drive. So being a luxury model, and power tailgate is standard. That gives you a pretty generous 20 cubic feet behind the third row here, and then if you open up this, you get something to pump up your tires because there is no spare, and then also a 110 volt charger, and there's also a luggage cover stored nicely down there. So get a 120 volt outlet, and then these are the controls right here to put those seats down. And down they go, folding their headrests as they do it. So once those get down, it reveals a pretty flat loading bay. You get about 57 cubic feet once they are down. If you put the second row down completely flat, you get around 97 cubic feet of space. So 20, 57, or 97. It's pretty big. It's not quite as big as a Wagoneer, which has over 100, but there's a lot of space in here. And simply press the button, and they rise back up to their original position. Quite slowly. And then you have to manually put these up. So Lexus is very generous with its powertrain options. There are 3 different ones to choose from, all of which can tow up to 5,000 pounds. The base model, the TX 350, has a 275 horsepower, 2.4-liter turbo 4, driven through an 8-speed automatic transmission, and you can have front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Next up is the sporty one. That is the Lexus TX 500h. That's a hybrid. It's got a 2.4-liter turbocharged engine, same as the TX 350, but it's augmented by an electric motor at the front and another one at the rear. Obviously, it powers all 4 wheels. That's got 366 horsepower and 405 foot-pounds of torque. That one is driven through a 6-speed automatic transmission. And then finally, there's this plug-in hybrid model. It's the most interesting one. It combines Toyota's naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine. We've seen it in the Tacoma, we've seen it in the 4Runner, with 2 electric motors. Now, the regular V6 gives you 259 horsepower. The 2 electric motors gives you another 200 plus. The combined output is 404 horsepower. At the same time, you can drive up to 33 miles on electric only. That gives this car a 0 to 60 time of 5.6 seconds. So as you would expect, this is the most expensive TX that you can buy, and prices start around $76,700. This one has got a couple of options. That power outlet that you saw in the back earlier is $560. It also has the convenience package. That's got rear cross traffic, pedestrian detection, a few safety systems included, and then there's the technology package, and that gives you the surround camera system as well. That plus destination will give you a price around $83,000. So if you're thinking of going off-road in this, and we certainly will be later on some minor truck trails, you've got about 7.9 inches of ground clearance here. All right, so let's see what the third row is like. Simply push that forward. There's also a button on the top there, and it'll do it for you electronically. And then let's climb in. So not too bad. It's your typical 3-row where your knees are up, but I've actually got okay headroom, and then I've also got a control here to recline. That's kind of nice. You've also got power, cup holders, storage space, and decently comfortable, beautiful leather seating with this Alcantara on it. Not a bad place for short trips. Things improve in the second row. Very comfortable, beautiful leather on these seats. You get a nice little adjustable armrest, 2 decent sized cup holders which are actually removable, rubberized, a little bit of storage space. And then rear seat passengers also get a slew of controls here. AC 120 volt right there, heated and cooled seats, as well as your HVAC controls and 2 lots of power. Very nice, plenty of headroom, and then you've got additional vents right here and a light. You also get a little bit of storage right here, and then these sunshades for hot days. Very nice. So anyone who's driven the new RX is going to be very familiar with the layout here. Very nice steering wheel, leather covered. Seats are really nice. Multi-way power, obviously, for both sides. Again, really like this Alcantara trim. Just to get a little bit of Alcantara trim here. Material quality is just superb, which is kind of what you expect from Lexus. You also get the excellent Mark Levinson surround sound system as well. Very nice in here. This is the touchscreen. It's on pretty much all new Toyotas and Lexus these days. You've got some physical controls to change the temperature right here. Your HVACs across here, fan speed, AC, etc. Your climate, you can go into your climate and change front and rear settings if you want to. Heated steering wheel, front and rear seats are heated and cooled, very generous. And then your vents are right below that. So hit the car button right here, and you can go into drive mode. You've got normal, sport, eco, and custom. Custom allows you to change, configure powertrain steering. We could change the powertrain to sport, hit OK. Steering's fine as it is. You can change the head-up display, on, off, brightness, what customization you want within that screen. It's all very easy to use. Below that, you've got your park assist and then your view cam. Always my favorite on these Toyotas and Lexuses. Spins around, looks for the back guys, and then zooms up. And then below that is your charger. A feature I really like is underneath this wireless charger, simply push to open. You get a nice little storage space down there for stuff, and slide it back. And then Toyota gives you square cup holders, and then if you want to, you can unlock this and take this out for more space. Standard Toyota, Lexus, Toyota Prius type shifter. Got your hill hold. Now EV hold charge, that basically retains your mileage if you've filled this up with electrons. Auto EV HV, or EV only mode where you can drive up to 33 miles. And there's your parking brake, traction control on or off, and then your rocky or wooded foresty trails, hit that button and you can go off-road. Nice center console, opens each side, revealing quite a deep space. Nice steering wheel, no haptic controls here. If you do have the heads-up display on, every time you touch this though, the heads-up display shows up in case you hit it with your palm. A little annoying, but at least you have your volume controls here, and you can change track using the right arrow. And then here you've got pages which you can press to change your display in front of the driver, and your controls for doing that, and then lane departure on, and then cruise control. Absolutely can't fault the interior. It is very nice, but how does this car drive? So we're going to put it into auto, EV, HV. It decides, the car decides which it wants to use. We've got 28 miles of electric range. We'll shift it into D, and then what we'll also do is put it into custom mode, where we change the sportiness of the car. And let's see how this thing drives. So I did drive it here in regular sport mode, and it was extremely comfortable, as you would expect. And we're on a little off-roady section here, and it is extremely comfortable. And very quiet. But it's a little firmer than it was previously. So let's go and see what we can do. Let's go here. So foot down. So the 6-cylinder kicks in. It's super smooth. As ever, Toyota, Lexus, they've nailed how these hybrids transition between gas and electric. CVTs are not my favorite transmission, but this one, being a V6, doesn't sound strained. Like the RAV4 Prime, naturally aspirated 4, just sounds kind of loud and buzzy. This, on the other hand, sounds nice. All right, so a little firm, but comfortable for me. These seats are excellent. Put your foot down, this thing flies. I mean, so much torque. Now, Toyota does not, or Lexus does not give us the torque numbers for this car. Combined 404 horsepower, but I could not find torque numbers anywhere. But it has to have more torque than the 500H F Sport, because that's got 366 and 405 foot-pounds. This has got a combined 404 horsepower. It has to have 450 foot-pounds of torque. It just does. So smooth, and surprisingly feels really good at high speed, even though it is a giant box on wheels. Steering feels pretty precise. I'm glad they beefed up the brakes. 6 pistons on the front is definitely a good amount to stop with, particularly given the weight of this car. Oh, I like how this thing goes. So we'll probably end up using up all of our electric power, but what the hell? That's what it's there for. Acceleration, it really picks up speed. I can definitely believe this will do 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. It feels that quick. And the handling, it's pretty good for a big box. Smooth, coming into a pretty tight right-hander here. Obviously, it is not a sports car, but it stays fairly level. You hear that V6 augmented by those 2 electric motors. And you can get to high speeds pretty quickly. This definitely has enough power. It would be nice if they put the twin turbo 6 and electric motors that they put in the Tundra. I'm sure they won't. I mean, this has definitely enough power for what it needs to have. And it's handling fairly well, not sports car like, but it's definitely handling this pretty rough road surface and these bumps, and I am very comfortable. Now obviously, this being the priciest TX, it's probably going to be the small volume seller of the bunch. And I haven't driven the F Sport version. It's really weird that Lexus has the sporty one without the most power, but I guess that's what they decided to do. So let's conserve a little bit of electricity here. Actually, let's put it into EV only mode real quick. So now we're running in EV mode. Let's see how much power it has in EV mode. So we're going uphill. Almost none. Really quite hard to... Yeah, it won't... Oh, and that actually when you really floor it, even in EV mode, the gas engine kicks in. Just doesn't have enough power to be able to do that. Let's do HV mode. That's save the 19 miles that we have left. We started with like 29, so it's used all those EV miles. And we use basically the gas engine and then the electric motors, but we conserve what we have left in the battery. I'll be honest, I drove up here in that mode and I couldn't really tell the difference between that and the regular hybrid mode. It was just as quick. So we are going to go up here and we're going to hit a truck trail. It rained yesterday, so I feel like it might be just a tad muddy. So we won't go crazy, but we'll see how it rides on rough pavement, rough not pavement, washboard surfaces, etc. Because we have to do a complete and thorough test. All right, so we've pulled over and we're going to hit the off-road mode. And the little trees have shown up on the dash. Off we go. Now that will automatically put the system into normal mode. We don't want sporting suspension through here. And off we go. So yeah, it's a little muddy. The single best car that I drove off-road was a TRX with Baja mode. It was the smoothest thing on rough ground that I've ever driven. I hear the Ford Raptor, the new one, is pretty good too. But this, for a non-off-road vehicle, currently on this bumpy truck trail, is surprisingly good. All right, so this section gets a little bumpier, as you can probably hear. But it doesn't care. So what do we think? Well, After the dreary RXL, which is essentially just a slightly stretched version of the RX, which didn't have enough room in it, didn't really work, this one nails the formula for being a really good, solid 3-row luxury vehicle. It's got tons of space inside. It's beautifully made, as all Lexuses are, and it is surprisingly quick and pretty decent off-road. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.